Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So there's been a lot of talk in the high carb vegan community about vasectomies. A lot of guys are getting the snip. And Luca had a vasectomy in September 2014. It was a mutual decision. I'm not going to talk about the reasons of why we had the operation. We'll link the videos here. Go and watch those videos and you will understand more about this whole process and why we chose to go ahead with it. In this video, I want to give the perspective of a woman who is living with a man who has chosen to have a vasectomy. As a wife, a woman who I will never experience being pregnant, I will never experience giving birth, I will never experience raising our own child. And we have zero intention of adopting or fostering. We don't want to raise a child. We are very content with the people that we help online. We have so many young people saying you're like my online mum and dad. So we feel like we are raising children from a distance via social media, and we're very content with that role. So growing up, I was never really keen on the idea of having children. It definitely was expected of me as a woman, but also I have a European background, and you know, getting married, having children is just par for the course. It's what we do. I remember at one stage was thinking, oh, I'd like to experience being pregnant. I thought it was quite freaky, like having someone grow inside of your body. It's like a little alien. And I used to think of it as more of an experiment than something that I really innately wanted to do. I didn't have strong maternal instincts, I don't feel, until I was about, I think, 29, 30 years old. And the main reason for that was that we were living in Thailand and we'd spend our weekends volunteering at an orphanage. And this was amazing. This was the first time that we were in real contact with babies, and we loved those kids. We had a ball. They became ours. We were their mum and dad. They were our children. And the love, the bond was so, so strong. I formed a very special bond in particular with two children, a boy and a girl. And the girl in particular, very, very strong connection. We just loved each other, and that was the only time in my life that I actually thought, yeah, I definitely want to be a mother. I want to have children. I wanted to adopt this girl. We looked into adoption. And from that point, we were definitely thinking of starting a family. We continued with the idea of wanting to have a family for some years, and we were preparing for that kind of mentally. We weren't vegan for that time at the orphanage, and we didn't know a lot of things about the reasons why we would ultimately choose not to have children at that stage. So it was very interesting going from that feeling, and that was very, very strong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, oh my gosh, like my heart was breaking and I really wanted a baby. I wanted to experience breastfeeding. I just thought it was all wonderful. So to go from that to having decided not to have children was quite a journey, quite a process. And again, all the details are in the other videos that we've linked. What was interesting is the last time we came together sexually before the operation was really, really emotional for me. I was kind of thinking like, oh my God, this is it. This is my last chance of ever being a mother. And I remember thinking, oh, well, if the condom breaks and I happen to fall pregnant, oh, that's just the universe giving us a sign. We were meant to have a baby and that'll just be it. Well, of course, that was never going to happen, and it obviously didn't happen. But I was actually quite emotional. I did cry that night. It was just like this, the finality of it sunk in. And yes, of course, you can freeze your sperm for later on, and you can also have the operation reversed. But we knew that once we made this decision, we didn't want to do either of those options later on. So it was very much a final, this is it, this is happening. Now, post vasectomy operation, completely different feeling. I felt like 1,000 tons of pressure and weight were lifted from my shoulders once he got the snip. It just felt so right and so 100% in the decision, and I've never ever looked back. In fact, I actually found like there was more, I don't want to call it doubt, but kind of going over the pros and cons more before the operation. And once the operation happened, I was like 100% this is perfect, spot on, I feel so good about this. I've never even thought about it twice with any doubt, any hesitation. I'm so happy that we decided this. So I think it actually became easier once the operation was just done with than beforehand, because you've kind of got a foot in both worlds, like should we, shouldn't we, yes, no. Once it's done, and then it's just easy. And I know a lot of women are saying, but what about our natural instincts, our maternal instincts? It's natural to have a baby, to be a mother. And that's 100% right, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But we have created a very unnatural world. So following our natural instincts does not always match up or marry up with the artificial, crazy world that we've created. Yes, ideally, in a perfect ideal world, Luca and I would have very much enjoyed having our own children and raising them. But it's just not a scenario that we see as feasible in the world that we have collectively created. So I have found that maternal instinct very much died down well before we decided to have the vasectomy, and it hasn't come back. I'm now 35 and almost a half years old, so I'm entering my 36th year, and I feel completely fine with this decision. I don't have any regrets at all. And I'm also really glad that we didn't act on those maternal instincts that I was feeling back when I was 29 and 30 years old, because they passed. So in the heat of the moment, yes, it was 100% so powerful and strong, and I really wanted to have a baby, but that passed. And then I discovered new information that would shape my life forever. So I'm really grateful that we didn't act in the moment and respond to those innate feelings. And I do want to mention that a few years ago, when we were seriously considering starting a family, a friend of ours, a mother of about a 7 or 8 year old son, she was also married, confided in us that she really wasn't happy with how her life turned out. She loved her son, but basically she said to us that if she could turn back time and make the decision again, she would not have fallen pregnant. So she told us how hard it was, how many challenges there were, and it was just a very realistic view to this romantic idea that sold about raising children. And that was a real wake-up call, because from the outside they looked like this happy, beautiful, perfect family, but inside she was still crying. Like the kid was like, say, 7 or 8 years old, and she was still having moments of breaking down, and this is hard, and I didn't think it was going to be like this, and it was just a reality check. So when people ask us, well, what if you regret the decision to not have children? We always think of this woman, and what if you regret the decision that you have had children? Then what? So I just wanted to give this different perspective on the topic. If you have any questions, ladies, please post them down below. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
We have ripped a hole in your scrotum, and we've pulled the tube out, and we've already cauterized down the top end of the tube.
You're on fire.
No,
Literally.
Literally.
There's something happening down
It's
there.
only 1200 degrees, don't worry about it. So we've cut the tube,